Alright, Elder Scrolls fans, it is another build from Duragon Darko. Um, a lot of people commented on the Magicka build that I had, and then the solo boss fight. And someone was like, after the healer build, they're like, well, have you ever messed with a stamina build? And the answer was no. Never messed with a stamina build. I was having too much fun with Magicka. But I do realize that stamina builds are the majority out there. I do have a build. Don't know if it's, meta, or don't know if it's, what everyone else is doing, but it's fun. I like it. Works. And I can definitely, I haven't done a trial, but I can definitely see me in trials because the four-mans are not even hurting me with they're not really even doing any damage. So with that being said, let's get right into it. Inventory, I'm gonna go again Eben and Curious of Turg's pack. That decreases enchantment is too much. It just does too much. It just does too much. So right there, that Crusher enchantment reduces the target's physical spell resistance, and then the weakening enchantment reduces your target's weapon damage and spell damage by 540. So you're really debuffing the mob with that Turg's pack. I'm sorry, it's just too much. You really debuff it. It should be in every tank set. It really is that good. Eben, everyone should know what Eben is. I think that is the meta. You can you can swap in Plague Doctors if you want. You want a little bit of DPS, you can swap in, Unfathomable Darkness in here if you want. You can do, this if you want to. So long as the main set is your Turg's pack. So, if you look at the neck, obviously you want that reduce cost of bash and reduce cost of blocking, which is more important than the bash. I left the magic recovery in the rings. And that's because when you go into your character, magic recovery is 910. If you look, you only have 15,000 magicka, 25,000 stamina, and then 34,000 health. Weapon damage is 1683, mainly because the boon is the warrior. I don't have the health. You don't need the health. 34 grand is more than enough. Now, obviously, if you're going in trials, you could just go into your abilities and maybe give yourself, a little bit more health, or you can swap out some enchantments if you really need to, because I think in trials you want closer to 45, not 35, maybe 45 or 50,000. But as is, I left the weapon damage in there, and like I said, I'm doing a little bit extra damage, but nothing really is hurting me or bringing down the health past 30. It really isn't. And I'll go over the skill set, but I mean really quickly, champion points. You want that warlord 15% reduction when you're breaking free. You want that extra stamina tenacity, so that's at 81. You want obviously Shadow War, which is 23.4 or whatever, reduce the cost block, and then you want that tumbling, that dodge roll. I didn't do anything in here. I put physical weapon extra at 29 to do some extra damage with the light attacks, because you're weaving everything anyway. This is at 20 for an extra 9%, for direct damage, which is pretty much everything you do first hit. And then, this is your Thaumaturge, your Precise Strikes, and then your Mighty, because I really don't see use in anything else. You want your green dragon's blood to have more effect, you can go right into increase his healing done and elf form, but we're not a heal tank. That's mainly for magicka tanks. I just don't see it. I really don't. So alright, so 23 ironclad, 35 spell shield. You can actually lower that 35 spell shield and go more into your heavy armor focus to hit that cap. Because the Turg's pack gives you 3 grand in spell shield. So you can remove that and then hit your physical resistance cap if you put it into heavy armor. But again, I wasn't thinking. So and then Hardy 12%, 12% here and 12% here. This is your damage taken over time. This is Flame Frost Shock Magic, and this right here is your Physical Poison Disease. So that's 12 right there, 12% off of that. And then again, like I said, heavy armor focus. So when you go into skills, it's gonna look a little familiar. I mean, this back bar, this tank bar is definitely familiar, right? You want your piercing armor, and obviously you can swap it out with rage, right, or inner rage or inner whatever the range taunt, right? You can swap it out with the range taunt if you want to, right? Inner beast, there it is, you know, rage taunt, but it just costs more than double what that piercing armor is, so you know you can't really spam it. I like the fact that piercing armor gives you that major breach, major fracture, right? 5280 for 12 seconds. Reduces your physical resistance. So I like that. Unrelenting grip, you need chains, right, to pull them, right? Absorb magic. In this build, I use it on a regular for that Magicka projectile because it automatically heals me, and it's such a big shield. So you really don't take any damage, and again, you have so much stamina, you're blocking 8% more damage out, and it's costing you 8% less, right? And then your igneous shields, right? Which, to be honest, I've seen some swap this out for bone shield, whatever, you know. I went with hardened armor, not volatile armor, because I like that extra, with the stand build, I like that extra, like that damage shield that it gives you, right? It gives you that extra damage shield for 15% of your health for 3.5 seconds. That damage shield is pretty hot. So it comes in very, very handy. Again, this build is meant to, you know, really take some poundings, whole block, and not have to worry about, you know, running out of stamina or taking any damage. So those three right there, 1, 2, and 3, you know, the Absorb Magic, Ignited Shields, and Hard Armor are real good shields to keep you alive and well. And then you have your Magnus Shell, and I think I explained this in the Magicka build. You know, this is not the oh crap button. You know, Magnus Shell you can utilize for, you know, picking up people. You can utilize, you know, when the rest of the team's taking damage, when there's a DPS getting chased by a mob. Remember, it's not for you, it's for your allies. They're going to receive a damage shield of 100% of their max health for 9 seconds. So that's literally doubling their health for 3 seconds longer than Bone Shield and 2.5 seconds longer than Igneous Shield. So that right there is an awesome ultimate. So this front bar, again, I have Absorbed Magic on both bars. Because of that 8% block reduced cost and the 8% increased block damage. And if you go into the inventory, if you pay attention, the monster sets I'm using is Tremor Scale. You can use your monster set, whatever. I do Tremor Scale because I got it, right? And it's the only one that had, if you notice, it's the only one that has increased Mundus Stone effects by 6.5. So I increased Mundus Stone, the waste, and this are blocks, right? And then that's your reinforced, and that's your block. But this Mundus, you really don't need block if you're gonna have an extra 8% in Absorb Magic. So, you know, mess with it. Go Divines. To be honest, you can go Divines with 2 other pieces. You have an extra 8% block cost reduction with that Absorb Magic. You can go Divines on whatever the hell you want. But, you know, I use Tremor Scale. I like it. To be honest, you know, you can use, I don't know, you can use Celine's guys. Yeah, that one's really cool. I don't have the shoulders for it. But, you know, her guys or whatever, when you deal direct at melee damage, you can use that if you want. But, again, I use Tremor Scale. It's a cool thing. It's 50% chance, so it happens like every other time you taunt. You know, and reduces your speed. It deals, you know, almost 7,000 to every enemy within 4 meters. So that's, you know, that's why I use it. It's a great AoE. Slows everybody down. So back to this front bar. So Noxious Breath. Everybody's like, okay, why? Right? It's not a tank power. Sets up your DPS. Huge. So what the taunt, right, piercing armor does is major fracture and major the other one, major breach, right? Well, this is just major fracture, reducing their physical resistance by 5280, but that's for everybody that you smack with Noxious Breath in the cone. That's monster for AoE DPS, right? That's, for a stamina, Dragon Knight or Stagnant Nightblade, Endless Hail is now got an additional 5280 piercing, pretty much. Noxious Breath, I like it in the build, man. I really like it in the build. And you have more than enough stamina, trust me. More than enough. Eruption, this is expensive. I get it. I like the fact that it reduces your movement by 70%. So you got your talons, right? Which reduces, holds them on for a few seconds, right? And then reduces its minor main, right? And I use choking talons on the stamina, not burning talons. Burning talons I use for the magic attack. He's using choking because of that extra 15% damage reduction, to be honest. So I hold them, and they're doing 15% less damage. This build, the stamina build, I chose for all about, not taking damage. Because he can't self-heal, right? For the magic attack, it's different. I can take all the damage I want. It doesn't really matter because I can heal myself as I go along. So I love the eruption for the movement speed reduction. 70% is huge. Yeah, you get a little damage. Okay. Almost 500 every 1 second for 18 seconds. So that's decent, whatever. But it's just that movement speed. If there's somebody chasing a DPS and you smack that, you can definitely get away. If you're trying to run from someone, just put that on you and run through it, and they will get caught in it. It's like a net. Very, very cool. Very, very cool. Choking Talons I already went through, right? That's your group, and that minor main is key. And then you got your Green Dragon's Blood, right? Aggressive Warhorn, and that's pretty much it, man. I had fun with it, to be honest, I like the way the gear works, and stuff. I like tanking and, doing that. That's pretty cool. But that shield right there, that shield. And then when you do this one, you get another shield on top of that. Those shields, man. Wow, look at that. 34K is like in the middle of that little red bar on the bottom, which is insane, right? Look at that, how small that is. And then you have all that extra damage you can take, most of which is the Absorb Magic. 20 grand in Absorb Magic. But that is the build, man. Doesn't play like the Magicka tank, right? Because with the Magicka tank, you can just jump in and you heal a lot, and you're really active, and you're, really like aggressive, and you're fighting, and you're almost DPSing, right? And that's how you play that. This is more built for trials and stuff. This is more built for you roll in, you try and hold on to them, and you just wait. You sit there and you literally just block and you turtle, because they can't hurt you. They really can't hurt you. They can't diminish your stamina. They really can't diminish your stamina. They really can't hurt you. So, all right. Well, that's the build. I hope you guys enjoyed the vid. Real easy. To be honest, I am going to go straight to stamina DPS now. I'll make a vid on stamina DPS. I am not going to take credit for the full build because there was a guy on YouTube, and I'll put it on the vid, but there's a guy on YouTube that came up with some crazy fire build. It's really fun. I like it. So, but that's this build, so I hope you guys like it, man. Thanks.